Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3's trailer has been released, and boy does it promise one heck of a ride. New characters are coming in and old ones are perhaps retiring, but the question is, who's going to be the villain? Adam Warlock will be making his first ever appearance in the MCU through the film, but will he be one of the good or bad guys? Stay tuned as we discuss this in the video, starting with James Gunn's comments on the movie's characters. It seems the hero may be going too far. In his new position as co-CEO with Peter Safran, James Gunn is extremely busy developing and carrying out a 10-year plan for DC Studios. But his work with Marvel Studios isn't done yet either. It's time to look forward to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 after the unexpected Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special warmed our hearts. The upcoming film will be the final chapter for both Gunn, who will be very involved in his new position, and our beloved band of cosmic misfits as we've come to know them. The director gave us a glimpse at Gamora and Peter from the upcoming film and talked about introducing Adam Warlock and concluding Rocket's arc in a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly. Gamora and Peter are shown in the latest photograph aboard the Guardians' brand new ship, the Bowie. It seems like the two are deep in conversation while Peter is holding his Zune MP3 player and sporting a surprised look on his face. It should be mentioned that Gamora in the future film is an alternate version of herself from a different timeline following the events of Avengers Endgame. Although we don't yet know what her future holds, it's clear from the trailers that she'll be a part of the group. Next up, where Adam enters, Rocket leaves. Adam Warlock, a character that was alluded to in the final Guardians of the Galaxy film, will also be featured in Volume 3. Will Poulter is shown portraying a villain who's up against the Guardians and looks fantastic in the role. Gunn explained that Adam is a more conventional superhero, though he thinks the term hero may be pushing it without giving anything away. The director confirms that Adam is a powerful foe because of his advanced superpowers, and his interactions with the Guardians provide an interesting comparison of where we've gone so far. Where Adam's tale in the MCU has just begun, Rocket's will come to a conclusion in some way. Rocket has always been the secret protagonist of the Guardians movies, according to Gunn. He said that the movie's always been grounded in the guy that he is. He believes he embodies many of the qualities shared by all of the Guardians. They're united by the traumas they've experienced. But in Gunn's opinion, his are more extreme than others. And since the film also includes the high evolutionary Rocket's trauma will undoubtedly be highlighted. Rocket was fine being an animal, according to Gunn, before being changed into a form that he didn't want to be. Adding to that, the metamorphosis itself, in his opinion, was terribly traumatic. But he also believes it caused him to feel incredibly alone in the world. In Volume 3, he tells us a lot about his past, including his origin, characteristics, and experiences. The journey has been challenging for the tiny animal. Following up, Adam Warlock's arrival has serious effects. The latest member of the MCU, Adam Warlock, receives his first official appearance through the trailer of Volume 3, and while little is known about the plot of Volume 3, Adam Warlock's entrance undoubtedly has significance in the MCU. Fans have been eagerly awaiting the cinematic debut of Adam Warlock, a well-known character in the Marvel comic universe. Warlock originally made an appearance as him in the Fantastic Four comic books. As the character evolved, it became clear that Warlock was a genetically modified, purposefully constructed, cosmetically strong entity created by the Enclave, an evil organization. His film adaptation appears to maintain a portion of the story, with Aisha, the Grand High Priestess of an extraterrestrial race, claimed as the Sovereign, taking the role of the Enclave. Though he started out as a villain, Warlock ended up being crucial to stopping Thanos and his Infinity Gauntlet. Given that Thanos is no longer active in the MCU, Warlock and the High Evolutionary, another enemy from Volume 3, appear to be securely locked in the bad sector for the time being. Moving on, how was Adam Warlock's entry hinted at in previous movies? A defeated Aisha suggested her new Guardian defeating weapon, who she referred to as Adam, in the post-credits scene of Guardian and the Galaxy Volume 2, which served as a tease for Warlock, but this wasn't the first time the character has been hinted at before his eventual entrance to the MCU. James Gunn himself directed the mid-credits scene that follows Thor: The Dark World, in which what appears to be Warlock's gold cocoon from the comics emerges in the collector's weird museum. Next up, what happens after Adam's arrival? The effects of adding Warlock to the MCU might be enormous and far-reaching. The character character is expected to make an antagonist appearance in Volume 3 according to widespread rumors. But it's simple to picture Warlock abandoning Aisha's plan for vengeance and accepting his, however flimsy, humanity, aiding any guise the Avengers cost in their conflict with Kang and the Conqueror going forward. On the other hand, the cosmic cyborg might also prove to be an unbeatable, powerful addition to Kang's list of villains, increasing the likelihood that this edition of the Avengers won't succeed. The recently released trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 fuels this interest and promises what appears to be an action-packed and heartbreaking journey. The most eagerly anticipated event is the introduction of Adam Warlock to the MCU, and whether for better or worse, his presence significantly changes the MCU's power dynamic. Following up, is Adam Warlock a villain in Guardians of the Galaxy 3? We already know that Adam Warlock, a new important character, will be introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and that the Guardians will have to deal with him. Of course, the Sovereign created him in a cocoon at the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, hinting at this. He took forever to show up, but in Volume 3 he finally made his formal MCU debut. So, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, is Adam Warlock a hero or a villain? Although Adam Warlock might appear as an opponent in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, he's not always a bad guy. He's consistently been a heroic figure with a strong moral code in comic books. That could imply that he might eventually engage in conflict with the Guardians of the Galaxy while still being a hero in the MCU. While it might be true that the Guardians of the Galaxy are heroes, it might also be hinted that they aren't exactly the most heroic individuals in terms of their personality, which may be why he will be an antagonist in Volume 3 due to a conflict of values and interests. Continuing with a quick recap of Volume 2's end. To recap, a strong group of aliens with gold skin known as the Sovereign offended the Guardians in the past, as seen in the events of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Naturally, this was a result of the Guardians betraying them after performing a task for them, and for that reason, Aisha made the decision to construct a creature at the film's conclusion that she thought would bring about the demise of the Guardians. Since it's now obvious that Adam Warlock will appear in the MCU as a creation of the Sovereign, who we claim is among many people who despise the Guardians of the Galaxy, perhaps Adam himself will be programmed that way too. But there might be more to this. This may suggest that Adam Warlock was designed as morally upright, being given that the Sovereigns appear to be aristocratic individuals who view the Guardians as morally bad. As a result, Adam's potential role as the Guardians of the Galaxy's enemy in Volume 3 may be influenced by the idea that he was developed to fight the evil team. Moving on, what do the comics say? Hero? Villain? Maybe the comic book background might provide some insight into this. Adam Warlock isn't exactly what you'd call a villain in the comics. Because of his strong moral compass and ability to stand up for what he thinks is right, he's always been a hero in comic books. He's fiercely committed to his own moral compass because he consistently stands up for what he perceives as being right for the universe. In certain comic book scenes, Adam actually engaged in fights with heroes like Iron Man, Captain America, and Doctor Strange. He was always a good man even then and incredibly powerful. But there was a time when he was tainted by the influence of the Infinity Gauntlet. Despite the fact that he's depicted as a hero in the comics, his humble beginnings do indicate that he wasn't always a hero. In the comics, after emerging from his cocoon, he was an enemy of Thor, since he was still a very immature individual who didn't comprehend the structure of the cosmos or how people functioned. Adam Warlock began to develop as a character and gain new knowledge of the cosmos after Thor defeated him. As a result, he was able to become more heroic and have a better personality. Ultimately, he turned into a hero who wanted to do what was best for the universe. Finally, some last conclusions. The fact that James Gunn has stated that Volume 3 would be the conclusion of the main character's stories in the Guardians of the Galaxy raises the possibility that a new group of characters joining the group will take over from Peter Quill and the rest of the band. hand. Because of this, Adam Warlock's origin story in this film may also act as a catalyst for his decision to join the Guardians of the Galaxy, even though he may be an antagonist in Volume 3. It's likely that while he first opposes this group of outcasts, he'll ultimately be compelled to team up with them to combat a worse evil and menace. And that assumes his MCU persona goes along with what's morally upright and honorable in a way that's consistent with his comic book persona. Well, that's all for today's video, so what do you think Adam Warlock will be like in the upcoming movie? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.